All right, so now we're going to try a leaf cutting. Those were stem cuttings. Here's a leaf cutting. And I want to use this plant. This is a succulent commonly called snake plant. It's Sansevieria. Is the genus. Most of the cultivars are some version of Sansevieria trifasciata. This is variegated, right? So we've got green in the middle, and we've got these non-photosynthetic white stripes on the outside. But most succulents do really well as leaf cuttings. They will root from leaves. They have a nice food store, water store in these leaves, and they do very well. Excuse me. A lot of succulents, if you cut the leaves, it's good to let them dry out a little bit. In fact, for a day before you try to propagate them. A little less chance of rotting. Sansevieria is not quite that bad, so we could probably just go straight to it. But here is a leaf, and you could actually make multiple plantlets, hopefully, from a single leaf. So the first thing we'll do is cut it. You want to cut it into pieces, maybe 2 or 3 inches long. So something like that. I'm making a mess on the board. Maybe another one up here. I won't do them all, but you get the idea. Now, one thing that's really important is to keep track of the polarity. That is, which end on the original plant was up and which end was down, because it needs to be the same when you put them in the ground. So I'm going to do it kind of like that, and I'm going to remember that they go like that. In other words, this end's got to go down. All right. They're going to go in this mix here that I have. This is actually a succulent mix for cactus and things like that. Again, they are succulents, so they need a really well-drained soil. I probably wouldn't put them under the misting chamber. They need to stay moist, but they also need to be able to dry out a little bit between waterings because they do risk rotting. So it probably won't go under the mister, but I'll just put these in there and we'll let them start. So I'll do a little rooting mix, a little oxen, if you can see that, hopefully. And in they go. Down a little bit, and that's all there is to it. Again, the key is patience. These take a while. If you wait several months and keep the watering level correct, move this up so you can see what I'm doing. Just putting a little oxen on the end and then putting them right down in. And what'll happen, hopefully, eventually, is that all of these will start developing little plantlets. Notice that I'm keeping the polarity correct on the leaf. And then in you go. Now, one thing that's important to mention about this, and variegated in general, but this particular variegation, this is a periclinal chimera, and we talked about that in class. What that what that means is that this will develop plantlets, we hope, once it develops roots. But the plantlets will either develop from the green part in the middle or the white albino part at the end. If it develops from the white albino part, they're not going to photosynthesize, they won't survive. If it develops from the green part in the middle, you'll get green plants. So you'll get this green straight species color. You won't get the variegation. The only way to propagate these variegated cultivars and keep the variegation is to do just by dividing rhizomes and doing clonal propagation that way. If you propagate a periclinal chimera like this, it'll revert to the original non-variegated color pattern. Anyway, but we're going to let these sit for several months, and hopefully we'll get little plantlets coming out.